Welcome to the Sloop Clearwater. Today I'm going to be talking about a voracious and adaptable river resident, the striped bass. Striped bass are a streamlined, silvery fish that are easily distinguished by the long, dark, horizontal stripes that run the length of their bodies. They are an anadromous fish, which means they spend the bulk of their lives in salt water before swarming up rivers and estuaries to freshwater spawning grounds. This population cycle makes them highly susceptible to human impacts on the river. These concentrations mean that they are very vulnerable to overfishing, and in a lot of places they are strictly controlled with seasonal closures, bagging limits, and size restrictions. A lot of bass populations have made a comeback, but the bass fishery is still closed in all federal waters. The striped bass are also very vulnerable to coastal development as we replace vegetation with impervious surfaces like sidewalks and streets. The rainwater has nowhere to sink into, so it streaks across the ground, bringing with it soil and debris into the water, which increases the turbidity of the water, meaning the water is too cloudy for the fish to be able to see, to hunt, to breed, and do what they need to do to live their lives. We've also bottlenecked some populations upriver by building dams and locks. These have forced some bass to be able to not reach their natural habitat in salt water. Surprisingly, some bass have adapted to that and have been able to live in freshwater year-round, particularly in some lakes in South Carolina. That's an unusual case though, and most fisheries are still restocked on an annual basis. But if you find a bass at the end of your line, I would think twice about eating it. Because these fish are apex predators, they will eat anything they can fit in their mouths. So crabs, many types of fish, squid, and that means their body can hold large concentrations of dangerous contaminants, things like PCBs. So particularly if you're in the Hudson River, check with your local DEC to find about recommendations to tell you whether or not it's safe to eat these fish at all, how much it's safe to eat, and how to prepare them safely for consumption. Or you can just take a moment to admire the official saltwater fish of New York State and throw that one right back in.